So this is what we are going to do today. I will make the presentation on empowerment through engagement in local community. We'll talk about how can we mobilize our youth to be involved really in sustainable development goals. Then we will talk about some examples from the field, which will be presented by our project coordinator from Nepal. He has been involved in the project for the last 6 years, and he will talk from the perspective of Nepal and from young activists here. Then we will talk about the problem of empowering women in China, which will be presented by Chao, who is a student of Warsaw University here in Warsaw. And then we were supposed to have presentation of the World Academy for the Future of Women by Jerrie Ueberle, but we couldn't, she couldn't kind of log in. So I will talk a little bit about this project. And then Bartek will talk about his experience as a developer of projects for TGA Foundation in Poland. He has been doing workshops, empowering workshops for youth for several years, and he has a great experience in this area. So that's the plan for today. So let's just start and hope that we will be able to move on. So please give me the next slide now. Okay, so let's start with Sustainable Development Goals, because this is the main reason why we are talking about all this. As you may remember, Sustainable Development Goals apply to every nation, to every sector, to all cities, businesses, schools, all organizations, and to all people. So practically everybody has to act. Otherwise, we will have a small chance to meet these goals. So this is called universality. So Sustainable Development Goals are universal. Please, the next slide. And so this is basically kind of an example of universality. How can we all collaborate and work on the realization of these goals? But it will take some steps until we will have so many enthusiastic people who will really put all their energy in the realization of these goals. Please, next slide. So one of the important things here is that if we need to collaborate all around the world, if we need to have this global partnership, we need to have community leaders who will understand the impact of cultural, economic, and political context on organization and community programs. We need to train a new generation of leaders who will understand cultural differences, who will understand how to communicate with people of different cultures, who will be willing to do it. And this requires a lot of educational efforts. And this is what we'll talk about today. Okay, next slide, please. Well, this is a puzzle. Maybe you have seen it before. This is 3 frogs are sitting on the log. One of them decided to jump off the log. And how many frogs are still sitting on the log? Okay, can you answer this question?
Well, in my opinion, I think all of them will jump off the log because, when someone's starting to do something in their society and the other will follow them. So it's a kind of psychological, common sense.
Okay, it's an interesting answer. Okay, Bipin, what do you think? How many frogs are sitting on the log?
I agreed, Chao, I agreed with him. So
okay, Sapna, what do you think?
One frog jumps and 2 are sitting. Okay.
One will jump to 2 are sitting. Okay, Bartek, what do you think?
The balance of the log will be disturbed.
Okay,
frogs, no. Frogs do not come on the log. Frogs always live in water. Amphibian.
Okay, but sometimes they sit on the log as well. Okay, we assume that they are sitting. Bartek, what do you think?
I think all of them are still sitting on the log.
Why?
Because one decided to jump, but she didn't jump.
Okay, all right. So this is the correct answer. The one made decision to jump out of the log, but it's a very, very, very long way from making decision and doing something. And this is the whole issue for realization of sustainable development goals. We may decide to reach such a great, goals, but decision is not enough. It has to be followed by the action. And so now we have to think, what can we do to make all these jobs, all these frogs jumping on the log? And that's the task for the leaders. Okay. So during the other workshops, we had so many workshops so far on the summit, and when I participated in some of them, I always heard people talking about community. That community is important, that involvement, engagement in local communities can make a big change in the world, that we should be involved in community, and so on and so on. So what is community? It's just a group of people, whether living in the same area of the city or living in the village, or this is the group of people who associate themselves because they have the common goal. There's a group of people. But the question is, how can we really involve people in community projects? Because each community has some goals, starts some projects, but we know from experience that some people are getting involved in the realization of this project, but some are not. So what is the psychology of community telling us about how to make people being involved in community projects? Could you have shown the next slide? Okay, there are two key concepts in so-called community psychology. Psychology, which is explaining how the communities work. The first one is sense of community, and the other one is empowerment. And let's talk for a moment about the sense of community. What is the sense of community? Please, next slide. Well, so this is the first extremely important statement of community psychology. People are involved in community actions only when they have a high sense of community, when they have a high sense of community. If they don't have the sense of community, they will be not involved. It applies to everything, to such community like a family, to such a community like a church community, to such a community like a village organization, and so on. Next slide, please. You see, there are kind of couple of elements which create sense of community. This is something what we call membership, that people must have the feeling that they are members of this community. They have to have sense of influence, sense of integration, and something what we call emotional connection. And we'll just talk about some of them more in details. Please go to the next slide. So what is membership? Membership, people have the sense of membership when they have very strong sense of belonging. They feel, okay, this is my family, this is my community, this is my village, this is my organization, this is my company. If they have this sense, then they will say that they will have this high sense of membership. Could you go to the next one? So, but how the sense of belonging is created. It's not enough that they must have the feeling of acceptance, that they are accepted by other members of the community. People must have the feeling that they get attention of whoever is community leader or other members of the community. They have to feel that they are supported by the members of community, and also that they get the same attention from the community as the other members. Because if someone feels, okay, nobody is seeing that I am a member of this company, nobody is seeing that I'm a member of this family, other people are getting more attention from parents, my other children get more attention from parents than me, other members of the organization are getting more attention than me, then they don't have high sense of belonging. Okay, go to the next slide. So the other aspect of this sense of community is influence. And this is another extremely important factor. So people feel that they belong to the community when they feel that they have impact on community affairs, that they have the impact on how these goals are set for the community, they have the impact how the money is spent, they have the impact on choosing the leader, they have the impact of practically anything. And if someone is part of the community, but they feel I have no influence or anything, Nobody listened to my opinion about anything. Nobody is asking me about my opinion. They feel that they have really small influence on the community, and their sense of belonging will be really low. Okay, let's go to the next one. So this is a big concept. Those of you who are from India, you know that we have a huge part of the society, a big part of the society, who are really poor, who really learned that they can't have influence on absolutely anything. And they also believe that, well, I was born poor and I will die poor. And I don't have any impact on the government, on my community at large, and so on. So they feel that the events from outside, they create their life situation. They perceive that they have totally no control of anything what is happening, and as a result of this, they just have this generalized feeling of helplessness. I can't do anything. I can't have influence on anything at all. Well, this is not only the case of India. You know, I've been in Nepal for many times, and I met quite a lot of people in Nepal who had also the same feeling. I just can't have influence or anything at all. Well, some people disappeared from the screen. What was about Bartek? What about Bipin? What about Chao? Are you still there? Hey. Okay, they're showing back. Bipin is here. Bartek is here. And what about Chao? He's back here. Okay, so I was just saying that it's not only India where you have people with learned helplessness. You can see these people also in countries like Nepal. I was in Brazil and in Sao Paulo, and my friends took me to these biggest slums in Brazil, in Sao Paulo. It's just overwhelming when you see the poverty there, and it's overwhelming that people simply don't believe that they can change anything there, that they are just living in these very poor conditions and they have to die in these very poor conditions. So learned helplessness is like result of feeling of failure. They try to do something, but it's not working. They try to have the impact, but nobody's listening. They try to have the influence on the leaders. They don't listen. So this is this learned helplessness. But you know, you can have it also in organization. I've been teaching a course, Psychology of Management, and we had a lot of discussions about the business organizations, where some people are simply like kind of left behind. Nobody's asking them for their opinion. They try to make some changes, but it's never implemented. They feel that they can't have really influence or anything. They learn that they're absolutely helpless and they can't have influence on what is happening in the organization. Okay, let's go to the next step. Well, so these are like the main factors which are behind learned helplessness. Why to bother? You know, nobody listening to me. Why to bother? Nobody takes my opinion into consideration. The other reason is I can't do it. That's too difficult. That's I have not enough education to do it. I have not enough background to do it. I have not enough experience and so on. And then another important factor, what's the use of it? Will I have any benefits from being involved? Do I have any benefits from financial benefits from this? Do I have any kind of psychological benefits? And the other factor is this will never work. You know, people may even have the picture of, you know, sustainable development goals, but when they look at each goal separately, they say it will never work. We can never provide equal education for all people in the world. We can never create gender equality in this world. We can never, you know, make the poverty will disappear from the world. We will never have peaceful work. We have conflicts here and ever, you know, people are fighting. We have wars going all around. This will never work. So that also creates the feeling of helplessness. We can't do anything. We can't change the world. We can't make the world a better place to live. Okay, can we go to the next slide, please? Well, some of you know this picture. Those of you who are from India, those of Bipin is from Nepal, you have seen places like this for sure. And I've seen such places I mentioned in Brazil and in some other countries. Well, I'm not sure how it's in China, whether we can see this type of places as well. We definitely don't see them in Poland at least at this point of the time. But it's a part of this world. You know, there are a lot of poor people in this world. But, you know, can you go to the next slide? But what is empowerment? The purpose of empowerment is to kind of help people who are kind of on the margin of the society, help people who just believe that they can't do anything, to help them to gain the personal and political power that they can improve their lives. It's, you know, kind of, this picture very well illustrates the whole issue. We just have to cut off this can't. So instead of I can't, it will be I can. And I can, to teach people, yes, you can do it. Well, how to do it? Well, this is what we will talk about in a moment. Marek will talk a little bit about how can we work with young people to empower them. And Xiangchao will talk a little bit about empowerment, the need for empowerment of women in China. Let's go to the next slide there. So basically, this is kind of a general model of empowerment. What is empowerment? Well, we need to create powerful leadership. So we need to show people, yes, you can be a leader if you try to become a leader. We can build the motivation of people, that they will have motivation to do anything, that they will not just sit down and do nothing. We need to provide mentoring. We need to provide people who will help people to make step-by-step climbing up, you know, in the ladder of power. Sometimes they start from the zero level, but they need a mentor. They need someone who will assist them to reach the goal. Then we need to develop certain skills. Leadership requires skills. Being involved in any kind of projects requires skills. And the skills can be created only when people learn by doing, when we'll put them into certain tasks, when we'll help them to achieve something. First, it should be very small achievement, then bigger achievement, then bigger achievement. And sometimes we have to support it with training. We have to provide training from the very beginning, train them how to acquire the skills, how to reach the certain goals, how to build their motivation, how to build their self-esteem, that they will finally start believing in themselves. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So one of the things we try to do is to education. And a lot of people believe that education is the key to the solution here. That we need to educate children from very beginning as far as we can do it. And now, you know, I can't share my screen. Monisha, can you kind of open this video and show it to everybody on your screen?
Africana.
Well, this video is. Look at this.
Let's go to school, so we never retire. I'll never look my back. Pick up your shoes, pull up your socks and go. Let's go to school, so we never retire. I'll never look my back. Pick up your shoes, pull up your socks and go. I wake up in the morning, I wash up my face. I lift up my eyes and pray to the Father to guide on my way. I look into my future, this how I want to be. I can never be so sad, worried in my life. Dimugumuni no musinji, okusoma anti kwe musinji is the key to the future. Everywhere I go, let's go to school, so we never retire. I'll never look my back. Pick up your shoes, pull up your socks and go. Let's go to school, so we never retire. I'll never look my back. Pick shoes, pull up your socks and go. I wanna be a doctor when I grow up. Treat all my friends and the people at home. Teach them to love my mother and my father, my country. Banina masubi dene. What the pieces of love? So go wasoba. Have a dream in your life, never give up. Clean your shoes, pack up books, pick up your pen and go. Let's go to school, so we never retire. I'll never look my back. Pick up your shoes, pull up your socks and go. Let's go to school, so we never retire. I'll never look my back. Pick up your shoes, pull up your socks and go. Oturojo kumacha, tunuma, na yo inokutwelesa, okelenkela, ngoli muwanguzi. Nje mulikivuka tingo bachiloto, enkuba naye ngenda mu maso, njagala buchenga domu kuba lodi.
Okay, we can stop it now.
Hey, nje mukumuni no musi.
Can you go to the next slide, please? Well, you see, it's a very interesting project from Africa. They did a lot of videos. Children from this project participated also in Britain Got Talent, and they just got this golden buzzer there. To couple of thousand people watching this were enthusiastic, you know, and moved by their energy and skills and so on. But there's no doubt that these are all poor children from very poor environment. When you see, you know, the environment and everything, these children are very poor, but they were able to achieve something by kind of promoting the idea of education and making the children dancing and creating some sort of a community and working together. So even in these poor conditions, they had this feeling of community, they had this feeling of being together, and they had the feeling that they can accomplish something, especially, you know, when they got the award in Britain Got Talent. So it reminds me, when I watch this video, it reminds me always my stay in Sao Paulo, in this biggest slums in the world. They put me, my friends put me in the hammock, you know, between two trees, and I closed my eyes. And what I heard was children singing, people dancing, like there was life there. There was real life. There, people, despite of poverty, people were able to do something, enjoy themselves, and so on. So it is possible. It is possible if we organize something at even the poorest levels of the society, that things will change. You probably remember this, what Steve, the founder of Microsoft and Apple, said, that it's not your fault that you are born poor, but it is your fault if you die poor. So basically what he was trying to say, that we still have the power to change our life, that we don't need to let ourselves to be totally powerless till the end of our life. Let's go to the next slide. So this is another example. Here, you know, is this organization, the World Academy for the Future of Women. And maybe at this moment, I would like to ask Chao to tell his perspective. Why do you think that women in China should be empowered? And what is the need of empowerment, organizing empowerment workshops and training for women in China? So can you talk now, Chao?
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Am I the next one who are going to give a speech? Because
yes, this will be your speech now. Make your speech.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Mary. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Xiangchao Xu, and I am a Chinese. Firstly, I want to introduce myself. I'm an undergraduate at the University of Warsaw, and besides cooperating the Sister School Project for China, I also serve as a coordinator at the university. And my role focuses on uniting people to address the Sustainable Development Goals in both mainland China and Poland. So today I want to address some pressing issue that affect half of Chinese population and the challenge of ensuring empowerment and equal representation for women. This challenge is not merely about the number of quotas, it's about confronting deep-rooted phenomena that has held back countless talented women. It's about the learned helplessness, as Dr. Marek said, and in the context of women representation, from the perspective of learned helplessness, and in China, that same manifests as a belief among many women that they are destined to remain in the shadow. The system is inherently against them, and their efforts to raise to leadership positions are barely adequate. Let me give you some statistics as aspect. So as noticed by the UN Committee on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women, in mainland China, women represent only 26% of the deputies to the 15th National People's Congress. Furthermore, since October 2022, there have been no women at the highest executive level. In Hong Kong, merely 19% of members of the executive level are missing. So the figures are just disappointing. There are some stark truths shows the barrier that women they're facing now in China. So how do we address this challenge? So firstly, we should acknowledge and challenge learned helplessness, as we recognize that many women has internalized belief that limits their aspiration. So we need to help them by methods like education, mentorship, and showcasing success stories. We can inspire more women to step forward and take on the leader roles. And secondly, we need to do something from the experts, like the UN committee recommend China should adopt some quotas and gender parity system. And these measures will not only ensure women's representation, but also challenge and change the status quo, make it clear that women's voice are essential at all levels of decision making. And thirdly, we also need to promote women's empowerment at some basic level. Empowerment begins at home and in school and in local communities. By promoting gender equality from a young age and providing opportunities for women to lead in local settings, we can create an effort that will essentially reach the highest level of power. And finally, I think the most important thing to print out is it's not just a women issue, it's also a men issue. So we need to engage men as allies. So we need to engage in men and allies for change, and we can break down the barrier that had held women back for so long. So in conclusion, the road to gender equality in China is long with challenges, and this is not just a problem for China, as the United Nations statistics shows that the population of India now is much bigger than China. So it's also a problem for all the developing countries in the world. But by addressing learned helplessness, implementing the committee's recommendation, and promoting women's empowerment at all levels, we can create a world where women are equally represented and their voices are heard loud and clear. Thank you. That's my speech.
Thank you, Tao. This was really interesting. Interesting to hear that this is the problem in China, which needs to be addressed. And it's especially interesting because we have here the project, which is basically, which intends to address this issue. And the project which started already several years ago in China, the World Academy for the Future of Women. Can you go to the next slide, please? Okay, so this project was created by Mrs. Jerrie Ueberle, who was prepared to make the presentation today, but for some technical reasons, we were not able to have her here. And she started this at Xi'an International University in China, which is the private university created by Chinese men from California, US. And all the classes are taught in English, and there's like about 20,000 students there. And one day she came with this idea that, well, why don't we just start working on empowerment of women at these universities? And what they started to do, they selected about 100 girls from 20,000 students, girls who had the ambitions to be at leadership positions in the future. And then she invited successful women from other countries, successful in the area of business, successful in the area of education, or whatever it was. And they came, each of them came for 1 month to Xi'an University and was having seminars with these girls for about a month, teaching them, giving them examples and mentoring them. What do they need to do to become really successful in life? And the results were absolutely amazing. 90% of girls who graduated from this academy, this is the ceremony of graduation there, they are on the top executive positions in China or in other countries. And this moment, the academy has the branches in a couple of other countries, in Nepal, in Bangladesh, and we are trying, with the help of Chao, we are trying to start the branch also at Warsaw University, and we will try to promote it in some other universities around the world. And as Chao mentioned, it's not enough to train women how to become successful, but we also need to prepare men in such a way that they will support women in achieving this goal. So like about 2 years ago, they included also male students into the project, and they are also taking these courses, and they get to graduate. But it was kind of interesting altogether that on one of these graduation ceremonies, we had a huge concert in this university in China, and there was a couple of thousand of people in the audience, and there was a stage when there was a performance, and in front of the stage there were faculty members and administration of the university sitting. There was no one woman there, only men. Which was kind of a paradox that at the university, which has the World Academy for the Future of Women, there was no one woman in the administration and faculty of the university. But it has changed since then, for sure. So can we have the next slide, please? Okay, and the result of this is that women begin to have power. They begin to believe that they can protest, they can not agree with certain things. Could we have the next slide, please? So you can see it even in these countries where women didn't have too much voice really, but they organized themselves in protest and in supporting certain projects and doing certain things, and this movement begins to be more and more powerful all around the world. But we just, again, we need to start with education. We need to educate women, girls, we need to educate boys, how important is gender equality. Could we go to the next slide, please? Okay, that's the last one. Oh, that's crazy. I expected that there would be some more slides. So that's basically about this World Academy for the Future of Women. And now let's just talk about the other aspect of empowerment, of working with young people. And here I would like Bartek to share his experience, as I know quite a lot about this experience, but I hope you will find it also interesting.
Hello, nice to see you all. I'm Bartek. I'd like to speak for a moment what is our situation with youth people in Poland. I think we have some crisis about health, mental health in children and adolescents. More than 50% of youth people have symptoms of depression, and a little bit less than 50% of children and youth people in Poland are victims of peer violence, like bullying in school or in social media. If we look into statistic in suicide through youth people, it's doubled during 4 years. So what I'm doing and what we are all doing in Poland is creating an environment and society and communities that will help young people develop and take their education, and we are teaching them how to communicate without the violence. So I'm currently promoting a mental health fitness term, because when we say that we are only healthy or only sick in mental health, we don't exercise. And the mental health need exercise just like our muscles. You need to walk, you need to run, you need to take exercise to have the fitness in your body, and we also need to do with our mental health. So I'm a coordinator of Sister School project in Poland, and I also work at TDJ Foundation on daily basis. And TDJ Foundation implements education and development projects for the youth people. We run an Institute of Educare for the teachers, and we are the founder of Bemke Campus, which is a place where is a kindergarten, is primary school. We are working hard to open the middle school, and in this place we also have regenerative agriculture, and we mix it with the education. So the kids in primary schools are co-creating community gardens and are learning how to agriculture and regenerative the soil. So in our programs, in the summer, we call them Vacation with Passion. We participants seek and develop their interest in various thematic areas such as art, music, dance, science, survival, climbing, acting. And thanks to the program, which ends with the finale, the participants end with strength and appreciation, and they have a feeling of accomplished something. They learned a new skill with they presented. They learn or they master the skills they know. They gain the conviction that they have managed to learn something new. They have the courage to look up for the new things. Their motivation is continually growing. So we invite them after vacation to the next project. And the next project is the individual development program, which is renewed in weekends, 3 per year. and individual tutoring. And tutoring is like mentoring, I guess. It's one-on-one meetings. The purpose is to support our young people achieving their own goal. So when we thought about this program, we thought about various young people, one with problems with organization, their own daily plan and school and how to learn, and the other people like they shy to ask the girl for the meeting. So we wanted that our program can support them all. So there is as far from education goals, society, community goals, career, and personal. And personal goals can be like working on some convictions about myself, or teaching how to speak about emotions, or ask the girls out. So of course the end of the program is a finale when all of them are celebrating. And both of the programs we try to verify the effectiveness by studying the impact of participation on psychological traits. So we are measuring at the beginning and at the end our programs. Then we are doing statistics, and the result shows that on the second measure, the self-esteem is growing up, the self-efficiency and the hope of success is also growing up. That means that people who are participate in these programs, they gain more courage to make decisions, to try new things, and they achieve higher academic results at the all of each stage of education. So I'm doing it like for 12 years, and I watch my benefits, my children grow up, and right now they are making their dreams come true. Like some of them flew to Korea to modeling. One of became a pilot from the little town with no resources. He was very working hard to earn money for the pilot school, and he do it all by himself. And of course there are children who survived depression, who survived the bullying because the programs. And what are they doing? They're coming back to our programs. They join the workshop to become a tutor, to become a guardian for the next generation. And what is important for all of us, that we try to meet, to create this community, and to share it, and to serve others, to help, that no one is leaving behind. So if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bartek. That was perfect illustration how all these principles of empowerment can be put into practice, because that's exactly what you implemented. Everything what we were talking about, are the rules of empowerment. But the funny thing is that you just said that you've been doing this for 12 years, yes? So when I look at you, did you start doing this when you were 10 years old?
Yes, I'm much older than I look.
That's kind of interesting. Okay. All right, so we had one example from the ground, how our educational goals can be implemented with success. And we hope that we have collaboration with his organization and for a couple of more years, and we are making some plans already for Poland. And now I would like to go back to another ground experience from Nepal. With Bipin, we started to work on some goals for global network for sustainable development already 6 years ago. And I would like him to tell you his story, how he got involved and what we tried to do. And then I will tell you a couple of words about the global network as such and what are our plans for the future and how can we connect all this in kind of an effective approach. Okay, Bipin, so floor is yours now. Oh, I said floor is yours and he disappeared.
Thank you so much, Dr. Marek. So, hi, namaste, and good evening, everyone. My name is Bipin, and as you know, I'm from Nepal. So currently, I'm in Poland now. So, I have been involved with Global Network for Sustainable Development for last few years, and as I told you, I'm from Nepal, from very poor region of Nepal, and people there is a very difficult life. We don't have a job opportunities there, and the most of people are uneducated and very difficult life there. And I was also one of them who was struggling with finding a job. And I ended my education when I was in high school. I moved to India, and there was a school in my village uh, which was very poor. We didn't have electricity there. We didn't have computers. We didn't have any kind of modern technology in that school. I was kind of surprised that after 15 years, the school was in the same condition. And when I was participating in the conference organized in Kathmandu, where I had chance to meet with quite a lot of people who was involved in some kind of educational program. And I met there Dr. Mira, who was from Poland, and I discussed with everybody that how we can help this poor schools, how we can help this type of schools in Nepal. So the idea was to connect these poor schools from Nepal, maybe later also from other developing countries, with the schools in developed countries. The schools that have all kind of equipments needed for modern education based on technology, and to connect these poor schools with the developed schools, developed countries. The result of discussion, she organized some couple of meetings in Poland. So later I got invited from Poland schools to give the presentation. So I went Poland, and I had chance to talk with students and teachers and parents in one of the mayor of city in Poland. And so the result of all this discussion, one of the schools, Poland schools, was agreed to be a partner school for Nepali schools. And in the meantime, they uh, collect some money, they help to install the electricity in the primary schools, and they purchase some computers and so on. So during the discussion, we are about to plan, we plan to have a conference in Poland, and we are about to invite uh, many teachers from the different schools, and we also plan to extend the students and extend the cultural program. But unfortunately, we had to postpone because of COVID happened, the pandemic came, and so now again we want to continue our work. So now we a little bit change our project uh, because in the meantime this war happened with Russia and Ukraine. So when we talked to the Minister of Education from Ukraine and some of teachers from Ukraine, they told us that students from Ukraine they have been exposed with violence and war for such a long time, and they doesn't know how to resolve conflict without violence. And we thought that maybe it will really make sense to help them to learn how to use peaceful negotiation and a peaceful solution to the conflict. And also maybe it will make sense if we could create opportunity to learn how to create partnership across the border. Partnership first children with children from other country. So this is where we are at this moment. So we deeply believe that exchange of cultural values and exchange of ways of resolve everyday problems in our community may be really beneficial for all parties participating in the project. So this is where we are at this moment.
Okay, thank you, Bipin. And so that's the history of Global Network for Sustainable Development. Some years ago, we decided that we need to create in schools peace clubs and sustainability clubs, which will kind of involve students in community projects and will teach them about community involvement. That we base this on the assumption of learning by doing. So it's not just only doing theory and lecturing and so on, but simply getting people involved in activities. And we hope to continue this. And as Bipin said, we revised our proposal, including also schools in Ukraine. And next week, I'm going to meet with the president of European Union chapter in Poland, and we will talk about whether we could contribute somehow to realization of the mission of European Union. We'll start to apply for grants again, and we already have coordinators for a couple of countries. We would like to find even more. And well, based on your experience and your involvement, I hope that we'll have some achievement after some time. So that's basically, everything what we wanted to discuss today. I don't know how many people were still watching our program, because I think that many people were disappointed by the fact that we had so many technical problems at the beginning. I really am sorry that we couldn't show you. We had several photos about this program made by Bipin. We also had a video about the effects of the World Academy of the Future of Human video when alumni who completed the academy talked about their experience. But for you, I can send you the links to these videos. You can just watch it. But I hope that we will continue collaboration and that we will just come with some results. Bartek, could you just maybe say a couple of words about this campus project, which we are planning to planning to develop? What is that?
Like I said, it's a place. It's a Bemke campus in south central Poland. There is a kindergarten for 60 families right now. There is a public free primary school where there are some about 300 students, and right now they are building a new buildings for the school, because in the current buildings there are no rooms, there are no place for lecturers and the classes. So what about special about these campuses? It's based on partnerships with the church, with the local community, with the local government, and the local business, and the non-profit, non-government organization. So there are many partners from all area, and they are working together on campus. So the results are that the business give the money, and the new buildings are building, and we hope that they are built during this year, and the next year we can start at a new class year with 12 new buildings. There will be some maker space for the children. This will be used as from the idea from the thoughts to the project and to the manufacturers. There will be a winter garden for the agriculture and the nature classes. And what special about this education is that this is I don't know how it is in English, but it's a personalized education, which means that the teachers are looking at the youth at the whole picture. They are looking at the children, we are looking at the children, and we see not only the skills and the mind, but we also see the heart, the body, and the soul. And we believe that all of these components should be developed and addressed during the education. So there is a family tutoring when the teacher is meeting with the parents, and they are discussing, okay, where are the child right now, and what we all can do to support it. So the teacher and the parents makes an ally to be on the same side, to be on the same side during the educational process. And this is my children are in this education, and it is great because what I remember from my education, that the parents and the teacher are arguing, and they're always against, and I was in the middle. So right now we are changing that to make sure that the parents and the teachers are on the same page, on the same side in educational process to help the youth people achieved better results in education and became the future leaders.
It's a great project, and I hope that this school will become a partner with other schools, which we will include in our project, and we are looking forward to follow up the development of this project. But you mentioned something really important, and I think that I talked to each of you about this before, but for other participants of the workshop, I should repeat it. You talk about the approach of teachers, the attitude they have toward parents. I used to ask students at the university, the departments of education, please think for a couple of minutes about the teacher who had the biggest impact on your life. And they were thinking for a few minutes, and then I said, now try to think, why do you think that they made such an impact? What was so special about them that they made this impact? So they think about this, and then I say, okay, so now share it with your neighbor. You know, what are your thoughts? And then I started to ask, and one after the other, they were saying the same. She was always there for me. She was defending me when I got into trouble. He really could listen to me. He was so empathic, and understood my feelings. He was like positive towards my family and my parents and so on. No one mentioned that they were experts in physics or experts in computers or experts in mathematics. Everything was on this kind of personal level. that, as you said, that the teachers are looking not only into the mind and memory, but also looking to the heart and soul of the children. This is extremely important aspect of education, I think. Okay, all right. So that's hopefully this will kind of continue this collaboration, and we will be able to, if we get only some kind of financial support for our project, we will start moving forward. And so I would like to thank you for your contribution, and I will get in touch with you soon when we will follow up with the project. Okay?
Yes, sure.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a good evening. Have a good day.
Thank you, Professor.